Hi everyone, it's Kristie here from KP Creatives with another video for Two Scrapbook Friends. Today we're going to be making a congratulations card. It is the season of graduations and weddings and all kinds of fabulous things to celebrate. So I thought I would put to use some new products that I've recently gotten from Two Scrapbook Friends that would put some fantastic congratulations cards together. So we're going to be using some Hammermill cardstock. I've got two products from Tailored Expressions that we'll go through, some Pink Fresh Studio inks, and then some tools as we go along and create our card project for today. So the stencil I'm going to be using is a layering stencil set from Tailored Expressions, and this is called the Bokeh Stars. It is a set of 3 stencils, so we will be using those today to create our card panel. If you have not tried the layering stencils from Tailored Expressions, they are a great place to start. The squares along the side help you align your panels as you switch from stencil to stencil. And I know it might be hard to see in the video, but they do also have a number down at the bottom. Now, one trick that I learned from Tim Holtz is, from watching his videos, is if you cover this with black distress paint, then the paint will settle into these grooves and you don't have to kind of shift in the light to see the numbers. So if you struggle with seeing the numbers, try that. You could also try maybe with a Sharpie. I'm not sure if it would rub off or not when you're cleaning your stencils, but the distress paint I've used on other ones and it seems to work and hold up pretty well. It's a bit messy to start, but it really does work and it makes it easy to see the order that you use your stencils in. So we're going to be using that for a stencil, and then I fell in love with this stamp and die set when I saw it on the Tailored Expressions website. This beautiful scripty font, absolutely loved it. You've got congrats and congratulations. I'm not sure which one we're going to use on our card today. I have been playing around with stamping and die cutting both of these just with some black ink, and so I've got a little stack of congrats built up here. Whenever I'm using a basic sentiment stamp like this, I like to create multiples so that the next time I have to create a congrats card, I've got a little stack here ready to go. So I die cut a bunch of the congrats and a bunch of the congratulations. This stencil set creates a 6x6 background. We're going to cut it down, but I wasn't sure which one I wanted to use because we are using that bigger card. I might go with the full congratulations or just keep it more simple with congrats, but we'll see. So I've got some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White in the 110 pound weight cardstock for our nice heavyweight cardstock. I have cut this so the finished card size will be 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. Something a little bit different. You know, graduations are special, so mixing it up from the general A2 card size that you would have seen in most of the other videos. So I thought this was a bit more fun. Nice to be able to hold a nice graduation gift card or anything like that. So I thought it was a good way to just make this card a little bit different. I've got my blender brush here. I'm using the ones from Gina K. You can get these really great little blender buddy clips from Two Scrapbook Friends, and if you attach them on, then you keep the color straight of your brushes. So on the white ones, obviously you can tell this is the blue one, but some of the brushes from other companies have brown or black bristles, and it's harder to tell which color family they're from. So these blender clips can come in really handy. The inks I'm going to be using today are from Pink Fresh. I love using Pink Fresh inks for layering stencils because their inks come in packs. If you get the cubes, they come in packs of 4 in a gradient of the same tone from light to dark. So I've picked 3 from, so I'm going to be using Slumber first, then Sapphire, and Stargazer. So we're just going to use one blender brush for all 3 of those. I've got a sheet of Hammermill cardstock already cut to 6 inches by 6 inches, and I've got that tucked right into the corner of my waffle flower stencil mat. So now that we know what we're dealing with and the lay of the land here, let's get into it. So I've got the first stencil, number 1. I'm going to tuck this right into the corner of the stencil mat. Because I've got things tucked into the corner, I'm not going to worry about pixie spray or taping it down. It's going to be fine. So we're going to start here with Slumber. So we'll open this up And we're going to get a nice amount of ink onto our brush. And here we go. So you may have noticed when I put the ink cube down and put my brush on it, it didn't move all around. And that's one of the things I love about using this stencil mat is it's a bit grippy. So it grips onto the bottom of the ink pad, so it's not moving all around. I do have the ink stand, which I absolutely love, and it is great. I would have pulled it out, but I recently was crafting with a friend and I haven't unpacked all my stuff yet, and my ink stand is in that bag. So so that is the very technical reason of why I am not using the ink stand, and I'm going to go with the grippy surface of the waffle flower stencil mat. This stencil mat really is good, especially for, layering stencils like this, where, you want to be in the same spot as you switch your stencils, just like if you were repeat stamping, right? You want to have it easy to reposition things as you move from one product to the other. And this waffle flower stencil mat makes it really easy to do that because you're tucking things right into the corner. So if you've never used these types of layering stencils before, as I mentioned at the beginning, there's 6 squares. And if you ink up those squares, you can then line up for the next stencil in the pack that you're going to use. Now, I'm not too concerned about that with this stencil because it's not as intricate if we were layering a flower stencil or something like that. So I'm not too worried about it. Plus we know we're tucked in the corner, so not a big deal. But that is it for the first stencil. So we'll put that slumber ink away. I'm going to set this stencil off to the side and we'll wipe that off later. Now we're going to go in with stencil 2. Get that tucked in nice in the corner. You can see we're lining up the squares there, and this is going to create a really cool overlap with the stars. So now we're going in with sapphire. Just got a little bit of the ink there. Okay, same blender brush, no need to clean it off because we're in the same color family. So we're going to ink that up nice and juicy, and here we go with sapphire. So this particular graduation card that I am making is for a friend's daughter who recently graduated grade 8, and she is heading into high school, which I cannot believe, but the high school that she's going to, their colors are blue and white. So if you are making graduation cards for some of the younger people in your life, a really cool way to kind of customize the card for them or make it a little bit special or personalized is to use inks that are the colors of the school that they will be at, school, university, college, whatever the case might be, that they're going to be heading off to. It just kind of adds a nice little personal touch. That you've kind of thought about that for them. So I really like to do that when I'm making graduation cards for people. So that looks like it for stencil number 2. So we're going to peel and reveal. There we go. Some nice layering with those 2 different tones of the blue colors. We'll pack up sapphire, and we're going to bring in this gorgeous dark blue Stargazer. Pop on stencil number 3. Get that nicely tucked in, and here we go. It might not seem like a big deal that ink cube is staying in place, but I got to tell you, it's really nice because I'm not sure if you can see. I think you'll be able to see this over to the side. If you were using it on your glass media mat, look at it, just wiggles all around. It's frustrating. So getting it onto either the inkstand or the stencil mat really makes a nice difference in your crafty workflow. So getting this Stargazer ink down. I really like this stencil set because it's pretty fast. Like, you can make a bunch of backgrounds, especially if you've got these little ink cube sets from Pink Fresh. You could take, the teal ones, the red ones, the green ones, and you could just crank out backgrounds for, a bunch of different cards. Stars can be used for, birthday, congrats like we're using today, new baby, new home, really anything. Hello, thinking of you. It's a very, very versatile stencil set to have in your collection. Okay, that is it for our ink blending. So look at that, so cool. I really love the star pattern that this creates. And again, you could use all kinds of different colors. You could put pastes or glitter gel over top of one of the layers. This can just be customized to whatever you like, which is pretty fun. So we are going to now cut this down. As I mentioned, our finished card size is 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. So we're going to cut this down to probably 5 by 5. I think that will give us a nice 1/4 inch margin, but we'll play around with it and see if that looks right when we cut down this piece of paper. So I'm going to bring in the Tim Holtz paper trimmer, and let's get to slicing and dicing here. So we've got this started at 6 by 6 because that was the size of the stencil. So I'm going to go down 1/2 inch on each side. So 5.5, 5.5, now we're going to go down to 5. And 5 again. Now let's see how that's going to look on our card. I think that looks pretty good. We got a nice 1/4 inch margin all the way around, so we're going to leave it like that. So let me get the heavy machinery out of the way. Take care of these little scraps. And we'll bring in our finished card base, and let's add some dimension onto the back of this card. I'm gonna grab my roll of foam tape here, and we're gonna get some nice dimension, just making it a little bit lofty to stick up from the back of the card base. Get some nice height. This card is going to be mailed, so I want to make sure I'm getting some good coverage of foam tape so that it doesn't get flat or saggy in the middle, and it stays nice throughout the mail. So we're going to take off the release paper here, and then I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue onto the back of the release paper, just so we have some wiggle room when we're putting the card onto the finished card base. Just gives it a little wiggle room. So I've put my liquid glue, this is the Gina K Connect liquid glue. I've put it into one of the little bottles that you can get from Gina K, or I think Lavinia. You can get both of those from Two Scrapbook Friends. I've put it in this little tube because then you get this great precise nozzle, and it is fantastic. I have a piece of washi tape taped on my bottle so that I can loop in this little, the closure mechanism for the glue bottle so that it doesn't bounce around when I'm using it. So that just helps me as I'm working with it. So look at this precise glue tip. It is just awesome. So again, I'm just putting the liquid glue on here so that we get a little bit of wiggle room when we're going to put this down on our card front. So again, I'm going to tuck this into the middle, or into the corner. I think we will put this on in this direction. And we'll get a nice 1/4 of an inch margin. Oh, see, that wiggle room comes in handy. Just gonna wiggle this a little. Take a look, make sure that looks good. And there we go. So here's a little lesson for you. Don't turn over your finished card panel on your stencil mat before you've wiped it off, because I got a little bit of the blue onto my card base now, or my card panel. Now I have one of the mono sand erasers. I'm just going to grab that, and we are going to touch this up a little to get rid of some of those splotches. So the mono sand eraser, if you don't have one, I think I may have said this in other videos, it's really going to save some of your card projects. So these little ink smudges, now some of them just look like organically okay on the card project, but other ones I want to clean up a little bit. So you just use this mono sand eraser. It's very fine grained, and it will take the ink smudges, it will make them fade, or it will take them away altogether. So we're just going to work away at this here. Just bear with me. You can see those have faded quite a bit already. The other option is, if it doesn't fade and you're still not happy with the card front, put an embellishment over top of it. Get out your sequins, get out your Nouveau drops, and have some fun with it. So I think these have faded enough that I am okay with it. I think it still looks really good. Just going to get this one off the edge. And then we'll be good to go. So that's great. So those have faded enough that I think they just look organic, that they were meant to be there. And of course they were meant to be there. Crafty accident. So we've got our card here. Now let's play with the embellishments. So we've got congratulations or congrats. I think, let's see. I really like them both, but I think I like the congrats better because the congratulations seems to cover up too much of those overlapping stars, and I think they're so pretty. I want them to be able to stand out. So I think we're going to go with congrats. Now, normally I would pop up some foam tape on the back of the congrats, or on the back of the sentiment, whichever sentiment I was using. But this is pretty I'm sorry, I can't say that word today. This is pretty dainty. How about that? So what I'm going to do instead is, I have a couple of the congrats that didn't stamp properly, and this one got a big smudge on it. So I'm just going to layer these up. So these are out of some nice heavyweight white cardstock. I'm going to grab my liquid glue. Again, this is great use of that fine precision tip. And we're going to layer these up. So that's 2, and then we'll put the nice one on top, and we will be all set to go. All right, that looks good. And one more layer of glue here. This is nice. This is so scripty. I can just kind of write with the with the glue tip. That's how precise it is. So handy. And again, if you find that you've used these bottles and this little plastic piece is bopping all around, just pop a piece of washi tape on it. It really does help. Okay, I think that looks good. The other reason I really like this scripty die is even though it's scripty and the font is really delicate, the actual die cut, I mean, it is a bit dainty, but it's got enough heft to it and enough thickness to the lines that it's not difficult to glue. So that is another really good feature of this particular Congrats set from Tailored Expressions. So I'm just going to get the last bits of glue here on the back. And we're going to get this ready to put on our finished card. And we've got the Congrats here, not covering up too much of that great layering stars. Make sure that looks straight, and that is awesome. So this has a bit of dimension already from the card panel and popping up the sentiment. So I'm not going to add any other sequins or gems or anything like that. I think the stars pop and speak for themselves. They actually make it look a bit textured, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to leave this as is and call this finished. So I hope this gives you some ideas of how to use some of the inks from the Pink Fresh Studio line. If they are new to you, pick your favorite color and grab that set of the 4 inks. It is an awesome way to layer inks, to blend inks. They blend beautifully together. So really cool. I highly recommend them. They're a lot of fun, and I've been using them a lot lately in my crafting. And they're great, especially for layering stencils. So Tailored Expressions has some amazing layering stencils right now. I have to say I'm having so much fun with them. This is actually the first time I used the star one. So this is really great, and I think you'll have a lot of ideas if you check out the designs that they have. Hopefully you're having a great summer so far. Thank you so much for joining us. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video a thumbs up, and we will see you next time.